Back in New Orleans, fans still filing in late for this early start. In the history of the Hornets franchise, going back to the days in Charlotte, they've never won a series when they've been down 0-2. Let's check in now with the third member of our crew, Rick Bucher.
Thanks, Dave. Dante Jones has been the Chris Paul stopper for the Nuggets, but the Hornets question whether he's done it fairly. Coach Byron Scott has even gone so far as to say he's a dirty player. Now, that said, I talked to Chris Paul. He said, look, I'm trying not to worry about that. But then he turned around and said, you'd think, as much as I handle the ball, Chauncey's had, what, 19 free throws, and I've had 9? He's hoping that that's going to change on his home court. So may not be worried, but certainly, Dave, he's aware of the discrepancy.
All right, we'll see how Paul responds. The Hornets were 6-1 at home in the playoffs last year. Denver has not been traditionally a good road team in the playoffs. Our BlackBerry starting lineups for the Nuggets. Jones will be joined by Billups in the backcourt, along with Anthony, Martin, and Nene. Billups certainly makes him a better road team, you would think, in the postseason. Against the Hornets, led by Paul, Butler, Stojakovic, Tyson Chandler, who's banged up with that ankle injury, and David West, who's averaging just 16.5 points per game and shooting under 40% so far in this series.
Dave, I'm anxious to see if this is the old Nugget team, or is this the new and improved Denver Nuggets? The old Nuggets team comes in here and they get whacked today.
Yep.
I want to see if they're going to come out and play with some intensity at the start of this game and take it to the Hornets and take a stranglehold in on this series.
Well, talking with George Karl earlier, he said, Chauncey Billups has been a rock. What a great trade for us, says Karl. He's got the Nuggets as the 2 seed, 54 wins, matching a franchise record. New Orleans 49 wins on the season, the 7 seed. 2-0 Nuggets lead the series. Here's Carmelo Anthony with his first touch. Anthony has been off and on so far in the series, struggled in game 1, played better in game 2.
But the difference is they're up 2-0. And if this was the old Nugget team, they're probably down 2-0 without Carmelo having a huge evening. He doesn't have to do that now. He's not the single #1 option. West
got good position down low, but blew the layup. And rebounded by Kmart.
Dave, I thought it was interesting, the message George Karl sending to his team. You've earned the right to enjoy this 54-win season and enjoy where you are. Regardless of what people think, they don't believe we're a #2 seed, we're not good enough. Forget that. You are here, enjoy it, embrace it, and they've done that in the first 2 games.
Offensive foul call on the Hornets. That's on Chandler. Karl in his 5th season in Denver. The Nuggets have yet to get out of the first round with him as their head coach, but Karl has had some success in the playoffs, taking 5 different teams to the postseason. That's second all time behind Larry Brown.
And the finals with Seattle against the Chicago Bulls. Unfortunately for everybody, Michael Jordan was around in the 90s. But George had some great teams in Seattle. A terrific basketball coach.
You know what's interesting, JB? The last series win for Denver, as the Ney scores, was 1994 in the first round against George Karl, Seattle Sonics.
Dikembe Mutombo holding up that basketball, laying on the floor.
Nuggets with the 8th seed that year. West missing. Nuggets with the ball and a 4-0 lead. And Billups strong to the rim. And a foul called on Butler. Now Byron Scott can't be pleased with the start for the Hornets here. The energy level looks about the same as it did in those first 2 games in Denver.
Well, you know, David West gets a couple decent looks in the paint, but this is not really your typical post player. This is a guy that prefers fadeaway jump shots. He's more of a jump shooter. He did get in the paint there, tried to finish with the left hand on both occasions, unable to do that. And I'm really hoping the Hornets score soon, because in this building, they stand up until they score, and I can't see anything to the right of me. I need them to score here so they can sit down, and I can enjoy the game along with the rest of the people.
Billups now 20 of 20 in the series at the free throw line.
What, can you play any better basketball than Chauncey Billups? 12 assists, no turnovers, 33 points a game, 12 of 15 from the three-point line.
Crazy.
It's just, it's mind-boggling.
8 threes in game 1. Well, this guy's been to the conference finals 6 straight years with Detroit. Finals MVP in 2004.
Well, look where their offense is starting. I mean, Denver doing a terrific job of taking the Hornets out of everything they want to do, as Paul's going to come up short on the jump shot.
Wow. Nene got a hand in his face. Paul had 14 points, 13 assists in game 2 after a 21-point effort in game 1.
Dave, he's got to score the basketball. That's just the bottom line for this Hornet team.
Martin makes it 8-0 Denver.
A terrific start here, particularly on the defensive end. When things are tough, you come out and play great lockdown defense. You don't try to get it back on the offensive end. That's what the Nuggets would have done in years past, but it's a defensive juggernaut right now in games 1, 2, and 3, and the Denver Nuggets couldn't script it a better start here in New Orleans.
Welcome back to New Orleans, where the Hornets have had 4 empty trips on 4 possessions so far. Denver leading 8-0. Chauncey Billups with a couple of points and 2 assists already in this game. You see his numbers in the series so far. He was the 3rd pick by the Celtics in 1997. Grew up in Denver, attended Colorado. Actually had a stint with Denver earlier in his career, and then went to the Pistons, where he was the Finals MVP in 2004, and then came back to Denver earlier this year in that Allen Iverson trade. You were a teammate of Billups for 2 years in Detroit. What's it like to play with Billups?
It's just so professional. He's always under control. He thinks the game as good as anybody. Great strength. Just a tremendous, tremendous leader.
Stojakovic off the bounce. And the Hornets still without a point. Here's Billups again in transition. Dante Jones will go to the line. And that's 2 on Tyson Chandler. 3rd team foul on the Hornets.
That is a problem for the New Orleans Hornets. They just don't have the depth. Chandler goes out now with 2 fouls. If David West gets in trouble, you have nobody on your bench that you can bring in that can pick up the offensive slack.
To your point, the lowest scoring bench in the NBA, while Denver's 3rd in the league in bench points.
Well, they're just not built that way. This is a defensive-oriented team. They've been ravished by injuries this season. Obviously, last year they snuck up on people, 56 wins. Actually had a 2-0 lead on the San Antonio Spurs last year in their series. And the injuries just killed them this year. Byron Scott flat out just said, when you lose David West, you lose Tyson Chandler for 40 games, Peja Stojakovic for about 15. You cannot lose 3 guys that are that important to you and be able to be the same type of team.
West still unable to score. And here's Billups again looking to push the pace. Here's Anthony. He's not scored yet, and Denver leads 10-0. Good defense there by Stojakovic. Here's Paul. And finally the Hornets scored 3 minutes and 14 seconds in.
And the fans can sit down, and now we can watch the ball game. Thank you, CP3.
Well, Chris Paul in games 1 and 2 against Denver last year, or Dallas last year, had 35 points and 32 points. And this year, averaging just 17. And you said it, you think he needs 35 for them to win this game.
I just think he needs a big night. He's got to become more aggressive. As Dante Jones pokes it away, he's going to get an easy one here.
After the Paul turnover. And again, the turnover's an issue for the Hornets.
The turnovers have been huge. 31 turnovers in the first 2 games. But you've got to credit Dante Jones. He has played Chris Paul as well as anybody I've ever seen him play. You have Anthony Carter that you can put on him. You can put Chauncey Billups for some more size and strength. CP seen a lot of different looks out of this Nugget team.
Sean Marks with a jumper no. Well, you said at the top of the show you think Denver's been the most impressive team in the playoffs so far. Does that mean the Hornets have been the biggest disappointment so far in the playoffs?
Well, I think it's a combination of the two, but the way the Denver Nuggets have played defense, that's been the most impressive thing. This team giving up 88 points in the first 2 ball games. Really just manhandling this Hornet team. I thought this would be a more competitive series.
Stojakovic way off. Peja has been good so far in this series. He was 7 of 11 from behind the arc entering today. New Orleans just 1 of 8 as a team, and then David West picks up his first foul, 3rd team foul against New Orleans.
We talked about this at the break, Dave. It just seems like a lack of energy, a lack of passion from the New Orleans Hornets. This is a team that's down 2-0. You come home, you would think you'd be energized and enthused to be out here. This team plays terrible basketball on the road in the playoffs, and they're usually a very, very good home team, and they have yet to get it going as Carmelo, with a great second effort, finally gets his first field goal.
Missed his first 4 shots, but tapped that one in to make it a 12-point Denver lead. And getting to the basket is Paul. He's got all 4 for the Hornets. The alley-oop to Martin, couldn't catch it. Pass too high from Anthony. They want to force Paul to go left. That's what George Karl told us. And that's the 3rd giveaway by the Hornets. And Denver gives it right back.
And there's Chauncey Billups' first turnover of the series. But just a careless pass on the other end. David West. You know, I'll give Denver some credit defensively, but some of these turnovers are just completely unforced and careless with the basketball. And Byron Scott saying that he thought his guys didn't respect the athleticism of the Nuggets, therefore making some plays that Denver's been able to turn into turnovers and easy points.
Dante Jones picks up the foul. Still being physical with Chris Paul. Byron Scott, as Rick Bucher said, thought that Jones played dirty in game 1, but then Scott told us he thought that while Jones was physical in game 2, that he played a clean game on Paul.
You look where they're starting this offense. They're 30 feet from the basket. Rasul Butler going one-on-one against Chauncey Billups.
Great save, though, by Marks. West had to fire it, though, because the shot clock was at 1.
Well, they have got this New Orleans Hornets team completely out of sync offensively. Oh, what a play by Melo.
4 points now for Anthony.
See great recognition there by Chauncey Billups. Chris Paul guarding Carmelo Anthony on one end as he lays it up again for his 3rd layup in the ballgame. But that's what a great point guard does. Take your time. You see you have a mismatch. Gets it into Carmelo Anthony. Easy basket. And now he's posting CP3, which we haven't seen much of in the first 2 ballgames.
Shot clock at 7. And good strip by Stojakovic, but a late whistle. Derek Stafford says Stojakovic fouled him. That's his first. What do you think here, Jay?
Well, crowd seeing the replay. It looked like he got a lot of basketball and then grabbed the arm after the ball had already been knocked away. So that's probably a play you just let go. But nonetheless, the call's made as Carmelo with a beautiful post move. Such great strength. I don't think people realize how strong Carmelo is. He's so quick. And look at it, just a beautiful spin right into the middle of the lane. Readjusts the shot, gets the contact, and finishes. I'm a big Carmelo guy. I think this guy is one of the top 5 one-on-one players we have in the game today.
He's only 24, about 25 years old next month. 0-5 in the first round of the playoffs, but can't do it alone. They certainly thought that bringing in Allen Iverson would help them win in the playoffs. It did not, and they end up getting Chauncey Billups, who gets it ahead to Anthony. New Orleans gets back on D. Billups around Peja and gets the layup.
Now another uncontested layup. Denver controlling the paint. No intensity, no passion out of the New Orleans Hornets right now. And if this keeps up, we're going to have ourselves a quick series. New Orleans going home, and the Denver Nuggets could be moving on.
Blowing out Chicago in game 3, as you see Chris Paul has scored all 6 points for the Hornets.
0 for 9 the rest of the team. And that's the problem with this Hornet team. If it's not David West and Chris Paul combining for 60 to 70 points, they really have a difficult time scoring enough points to win.
Well, you were at game 1, by the way, last week. Game 1 of the playoffs as we kick things off on ESPN for that great Chicago win in Boston. Still think the Bulls win that series? Down 2-1 or
no? I don't think they do. I think Boston showed their championship medal. As Stojakovic gets knocked down, no foul call. I still think Boston's good enough to beat the Chicago Bulls.
Well, they thumped them in game 3 as Kenyon Martin hits the jumper.
Another wide open jump shot.
They're shooting 69% right now, JB, from the field.
I understand a noon game. Local time is pretty early. The Hornets hadn't got their wake-up call yet, because this is awful. And that was a travel that Posey gets away with.
Kenyon Martin called for his first foul.
You're posting up James Posey on Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin, one of the better defensive foremen we have in this league. James Posey's not a post-up player. I mean, that's how discombobulated right now the New Orleans Hornets are. They don't have any direction on the offensive end of the floor up to this point. Almost 8 minutes into the ball game.
Well, Posey was signed by New Orleans thinking that he could take them to that championship level after the Hornets won 56 games a year ago. Posey had won titles with the Heat and the Celtics. But Posey has struggled in the playoffs so far.
Well, how about some of the guys he played with, Dave? Let's see. Shaquille O'Neal and Dwayne Wade in Miami. And then he goes with Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. When you're playing with Hall of Famers, the game becomes a bit easier.
However, hard to say that either of those teams win the championship without Posey.
Yes, I'm not taking away from his contribution. He was a huge part of it. But the bottom line is he played off of those guys. He fed off of what they were able to do. And here, it's just not the same scenario.
Marks with the block on the nay. Here's Paul.
Oh, what a burst.
Goaltending on Anthony.
Did you see the burst of speed there, Dave? As he got to the free throw line, wow, what a great block here. Sean Marks. Stojakovic gets the loose ball and finds Paul, and he just blows by Chauncey Billups.
A little defense by the Hornets leads to offense, and Nene now called for traveling. How about Sean Marks, who barely played when he was a member of the Suns and Spurs, and he was the first guy off the bench today in game 3.
Well, Dave, he's not a household name, but I can tell you this. He's going to play with some energy and some passion, and that's what this team is lacking right now. I understand things aren't going well, but you got to play hard and play your way through it.
That's what Posey was brought in for, to hit those three-point baskets, gets New Orleans within 9. 7 straight points by the Hornets. We got Paul on Anthony. Here's J.R. Smith off the bounce. Smith has had a solid season off the bench, averaging 15 points per game.
And Dave, he's the wild card. He's a guy capable of going for 40 off your bench. As Sean Marks with a beautiful finish. Great pass, Chris Paul. And the Hornets finally showing a little life. Chris Paul, got to be the difference maker today. Finds a wide open James Posey for 3. And Sean Marks, the New Zealander, throws it down.
Chauncey Billups picks up the foul, his first. J.R. Smith has 2 fouls.
Well, let's see if Chris Paul tries to be a little more aggressive now with Anthony Carter guarding him. Anthony Carter, terrific defender, learned under the Pat Riley system in Miami. Always been known as a great defender in this league. So let's see how he guards Paul as Posey knocks down another one. He must have heard me talking bad about him, DP.
2 threes and a charge drawn for Posey off the bench here in the last few minutes. New Orleans has hit 9 threes in each playoff game, and already 2 so far today.
Well, they've gone small. They have Posey at the 4, Marks at the 5, and that's a matchup that New Orleans is going to love. Posey, Kenyon Martin's going to have to guard Posey and go out to the 3-point line.
Anthony now 3 of 8. Almost went in again for Posey. He was fouled by Carter and will shoot 3.
You know, I just don't like that call, Dave. The pump fake and the offensive player leaning in to get the contact. He creates the contact, yet it's a foul on defensive player. Nonetheless, here we are. the Hornets with an opportunity to get within 2.
We talked about the lack of bench production for the Hornets, not only during this series, but during the season. But the bench has been the difference so far in this game with Sean Marks and the guy at the line, James Posey.
Well, Stojakovic and David West 0 for 8 combined to start this ball game. Byron Scott was forced into making a move. If these guys aren't going to be able to get it done, you've got to find somebody that can come out and play good basketball and get you back in this game. Down 16 they were at 22-6.
Posey, a former Nugget draft pick. He was selected 18th overall by Denver in 1999. He spent 4 years there.
A quick 10 points.
He's perfect so far. 4 of 4 from the line and 2 of 2 from the field, both three-pointers. Two out of 3 on that trip. But New Orleans down just 3. Under 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter. New Orleans has scored 15 out of the last 17 points in the game. Carmelo guarded by Marks with 5 to shoot. Phillips on Butler. Here's Carter with 1 on the timer. Rebound Posey. That was Denver's first 3-point attempt today.
And that was excellent defense. As Posey rises again. A little heat check. Knocked down a couple. I don't mind that shot.
Anthony again showing the strength, and he'll go to the line. Let's listen in on Byron Scott during the last timeout.
Okay, but down there again, we gotta have a better job of doing and getting more resistance on that end of the floor. Okay, that's the bottom line. And again, if they catch it that low, like we talked about, we gotta go. He had about 4 or 5 dribbles. We gotta go. We can't wait.
Anthony misses the first. Stojakovic picked up his second foul. Byron Scott led the Nets to the finals twice as the head coach there. He was the coach of the year here in New Orleans last year. Anthony missed them both. He's an 80% shooter at the line.
Well, we talked about it over here. The lack of enthusiasm, the lack of passion, and that's all he was trying to instill in his team. Hey, let's play some resistance on the defensive end. You don't get back into ball games by playing better offense. You do it on the defensive end. You get stops. That's how you get back into ball games. You don't win it on the offensive end. And
Scott has never lost a first-round series, including that dominating victory against Dallas last year. Turnover by New Orleans, and then Posey picks up the foul on Billups. And both teams have the penalties, so Billups will go to the free throw line, where he has made 59 in a row going back to the regular season.
Well, again, another careless turnover. Posey with the giveaway, probably going to result in a easy basket for Denver. But the turnovers just continue to be a problem for the New Orleans Hornets. What is that in the...
That's 3.
No, that 3's not bad. I'm sorry. I thought there might be a little more than that. But
they have those 2 quick ones early.
You know, sometimes a turnover that leads directly to a basket, obviously, those are the ones you have to avoid.
April 2nd was the last miss by Billups at the line.
He did have a turnover there, though. So, oh my, you put the kibosh on him. The Dave Pash kibosh as Chris Paul out battles Kenyon Martin for the rebound.
I mean, it's rare for Billups to miss, period. 91% on the season, 4th in the league. Here's Stojakovic. Can't hit, and he continues to struggle. 0 for 5 now from the field. About a 5-second difference between the game and shot clocks. Looked for a while like New Orleans was going to get run out of the gym and be down 0-3 in this series, but they battled back to within 4.
Well, I guarantee Byron Scott's got to be happy being down 4, shooting 35% after trailing by 16. Should be a positive going into the second quarter.
No basket, foul with 2 on the shot clock on the drive by Anthony Carter. That's 2 quick ones on Posey.
Now again, that's like the 3rd or 4th time that we've seen a Denver Nugget be able to drive all the way to the basket uncontested. Somebody's got to meet him outside, obviously, of the restricted area because it's a blocking foul automatic, but you want to meet a guy outside the paint. Anthony Carter, make this guy shoot jump shots.
Looking for Nuggets and Hornets playoff gear? Log on to NBAstore.com now for the best selection on playoff t-shirts, jerseys, hats, and more, plus free shipping on orders over $75. NBAstore.com, one store, every team. Denver struggling at the free throw line. Carter goes 1 of 2. The Nuggets 6 of 11 in the quarter. Here's Paul. 4 seconds remaining. Stojakovic hasn't made one yet. And another miss from 3. He finishes the first 0 for 6. West was 0 for 4. Yet New Orleans only down 5. Nuggets led 22-6. But the Hornets closed the first period on a 15-4 run. Great bench play from Marks and company.
Welcome back to New Orleans. I'm here with Coach George Karl. 14-2 start. What were you doing right at the beginning?
Well, we made defensive stops in our running game. Energy was in the court, and we passed the ball very well.
Then it turns around, and you got a nip and tuck game now. What went wrong the last 4.5 minutes?
A guy named Playoff Posey came into the game and got under control a little bit. He missed his last couple, so maybe we're back in control.
Good luck.
Rick Posey had 10 points in that first quarter. He was shaken up at the end of the period and went to the locker room. Rick will have more on that. Posey played just 4.5 minutes in that first quarter and had that great productive opening period. Here's Rasul Butler. He's 0 for 2 from the field. Clay's of the rebound.
They just simply need to make shots. They're getting shots now. First 3 or 4 minutes of the game, they struggled to get good looks. They've had good looks. Stojakovic 0 for 6 in the quarter. You just have to make shots when you get open ones, particularly in the playoffs.
Phillips unable to knock it down.
Byron Scott's biggest concerns were turnovers. They had 4 in the first quarter. Making shots, they shot 33% as we get a great look there by David West and Sean Marks.
How about the fact that Marks and Posey, the bench for New Orleans, with 15 of the 23 points, and this was the worst bench team in the league during the regular season in terms of scoring, as Antonio Daniels picks up his first foul.
Well, I'm sure that's not what Byron Scott had in mind when he drew up his new game plan for Game 3. But certainly terrific contribution out of Sean Marks and James Posey. You know, Byron Scott talked about the rebounding game as well. 15-8 on the glass for Denver in that first quarter.
Phillips off target. Out of bounds to the Hornets. Well, Denver actually shot better from the field than it did from the line in the first quarter. Otherwise, the lead would be larger.
59% shooting in the first quarter for the Nuggets.
But they've missed their last 4 from the field. And a chance for New Orleans maybe to tie it on this possession. Already hit a couple of threes. Here's Paul. Paul back down the lane and score it. And the foul. I think that was tipped in by Anderson. He got a hand on it. Otherwise, it may not have gone in.
Yeah, it did look like he blocked it from behind. And it went in. We're going to go pick and roll here. Paul with his straight take past Chris Anderson, and he did. He nicked that ball, knocked it in off the glass, and CP3 is trying to take control, get this Hornet team their first tie of the game. That's up 0-0.
And Chris Paul has 11, 5 out of 6 from the field. You see Carmelo Anthony there. They're working on that right shoulder area. A 20-4 run by New Orleans. Kleza for 3. Linus Kleza with Denver's first 3-point basket. And that field goal ends a drought of 4.5 minutes as Paul is fouled before the shot. That's on Anderson again, and let's take a look at Anderson tipping that Paul layup attempt into the basket.
I tipped it in, he says.
He's a former Hornet, spent 3 years here with New Orleans. And you see there he's dismissed from the league at a 2-year drug suspension and then came back to the Hornets before signing with Denver as David West gets his first field goal. Kleza lost it, but out to Billups. Kleza with the runner. That was ugly. Nene gives Denver another opportunity, though. Kleza inside. This time he doesn't miss. Kleza averaging right around 6 points per game in the series. He's got 5 points here in game 3. Denver leads this series 2-0. Butler an open 3.
Dave, it's a very easy game. Penetrate, kick to open shooters, and knock down the shots. As Billups goes in the other end. You know, New Orleans doing a good job offensively now. After a struggle early on, they've gotten great looks. You just have to make shots. I don't care what you draw up. If the shot doesn't go in, it's not going to work.
Butler's first basket of the game. And now Billups back to the line after the foul on Marks. His first, second on the Hornets. Billups now 4 of 5 at the line in the game, 6 points. He was acquired in early November for Allen Iverson. Things were never the same for Denver. Same goes for Detroit.
One went up and one went down. Detroit about on their way out for the 2009 season, down 3-0 to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Game 4 of that series tomorrow on ABC, part of a doubleheader, including the Bulls and the Celtics. Game 4, Boston leading 2-1. Hornets trying to make this a series again. West lost it out of bounds, but they're going to say that a Nugget touched it before it went out. J.R. Smith playing with 2 fouls, and you see Posey, who was banged up at the end of the first quarter, went to the locker room. And
is that coming back out, or
looks like he's on his way back out, I think. Shot clock at 7 for West, and he lost it. Smith with a step back 2. Butler clears.
Well, see, that's a shot that you can get away from. You just don't need to take that shot.
Ball leaves it for West. Can't score, though. Loose ball. West got it. He'll bring it back out.
How about the struggles of David West? All in the interior within 5 feet. He's 1 of 6.
Oh, look at Paul to Marks. He dribbled through everybody, hung in the air, found the open man for the dunk.
Sean Marks, the beneficiary of Chris Paul setting him up at the rim for now the 3rd time.
Paul led the league in assists for the 2nd straight year. How about the Birdman from outside?
You know, I'll take my chances with that one. I think New Orleans would be awfully happy if Chris Anderson decided to take a 17-foot jump shot.
His first basket today. Here's West falling away. 2nd field goal for David West.
Well, that's David West's game. He's not a great back-to-the-basket player on the interior. He just wants to get some space, create it with the contact, and fade away and shoot jump shots. He's been unable to finish in the paint thus far, but able to knock down that J.
Here's Kleza. Can't hit it. Kept alive, though, by Anderson. And Nene finds Carter. Anthony Carter short. And a foul called on the Nuggets. On Nene. Tied at 35 here in Game 3 in New Orleans. 15 foul on Denver, so the Hornets will shoot free throws the rest of the half.
Interesting, we haven't seen Dante Jones much on Chris Paul. Chris Paul having some success at 14 points. Dante Jones has harassed Chris Paul in the first 2 ball games, even to the point where it got a little chippy. They talked about him being a dirty player possibly, but he has gotten under Chris Paul's skin, no question about it. And after he started this ball game, he just played 8 minutes in the ball game, and we haven't seen him since he dropped out of the game with 4 minutes to go in the first.
Anthony Carter has been on the floor instead, playing alongside Billups, although Carter on the bench right now. Here's Anthony. Trying to go by Stojakovic again. Smith, an open three. You bet.
Now, that is a poor decision by Antonio Daniels. He rotated to Kenyon Martin at the three-point line. When you have J.R. Smith, who's already made a three, you cannot leave the shooter, force Kenyon Martin into that shot. Don't leave the designated three-point shooter.
Ball caught in the air. So often makes a play when he does that. That time turned it over.
You've got to know your personnel. You do not rotate to a non-shooter and leave a terrific shooter like J.R. Smith, who's capable of getting as hot as anybody.
And Denver now 4 of 6 from behind the arc. Meanwhile, Chris Paul with 3 turnovers. Here's Smith again. Brick that one. And Chris Paul, who averages almost 6 rebounds a game, takes it right back down the floor for the layup.
Miscommunication there between Billups and J.R. Smith. Both guys felt like the other guy was going to go stop the ball, and they both run to Stojakovic at the three-point line and leave CP3 in there for an easy layup.
That looked like the Nugget defense of old.
That was it.
Nene. Martin tapped it, but couldn't score. Here comes Paul in transition. David West ties it again at 46.
A great push there by Chris Paul. Hey, you're struggling on the offensive half court. Get out in transition, get some easy ones. Chris Paul pushed the ball the last couple times down. That's got to be a charge.
Tyson Chandler drawing the offensive foul that time. Second personal on Martin.
And Chris Paul understands the importance of this game. Check out his eyes, getting these Nugget defenders to go out to Stojakovic as he lays it in, and we got a tie one with 2:20 to go. Nobody even talking about this guy. What's the deal?
Pro day.
Naked pictures?
Well, pro day. Scouts and the GMs go to the pro day, and Sanchez has wowed everybody. In fact, a lot of scouts think that he should have gone first to the Lions instead of Matthew Stafford.
Wait, well, I have a question for you. Since I'm sure people all know that you're the Arizona Cardinals voice on the radio, right?
Yep. Go ahead.
What are the last 3 USC quarterbacks drafted in the first round? Can you name the last 3 USC quarterbacks? That's Southern Cal.
Todd Marinovich, Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart.
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious? You come up with Marinovich?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You are impressive.
Here's Kenyon Martin. And Posey lost it. That was not impressive.
Ron Wolfley,
you thought you had me, didn't you?
Ron Wolfley's going to be impressed. I hope the Wolves watches. All right, let's get back into a little playoff NBA basketball.
At least you got
That's
you want
pretty
any more
sad.
trivia
That's pretty sad that you know that. I'm going to say sad. What are you, Mel Kiper?
An offensive foul called on Denver.
Mel Kiper Jr.
That's 3 on Martin.
McShay, Kiper, and Pash breaking down the NFL draft.
I can answer trivia questions. I don't know that I can scout players, though, like those guys. So Martin to the bench, and Chris Anderson back on the floor.
A crucial couple minutes here. New Orleans struggled mightily at the start of this ball game. They fought their way back. If they can get a lead, that'd be good psychological for them going in late into the half.
Posey open. And you wonder if the knee affecting the jumper. He hit a couple threes in the first quarter. Billups. Rebounded by Posey. You know, speaking of Carson Palmer, you talk about #1 overall picks. We're talking about Matthew Stafford. You might end up with a Manning or a Palmer, but you might end up with a Tim Couch, an Alex Smith, or a David Carr.
Or Ryan Leaf.
I'm just talking first overall, though. Leaf was number 2, but
right.
Under a minute to go. Anthony, and defensive 3 seconds is called.
That's why they play the game. Who knows?
More NFL draft, including live interview with Chris Mortensen coming up on the Toyota Halftime Show. Also a preview of the Lakers Jazz with Mark Jones, Jalen Rose, and Avery Johnson. Where will Sanchez go? Will the Rams take him at number 2, Seattle at number 4? Does somebody trade up for him? Does he slide?
Daniel Snyder's trading up and bringing him in.
I think Daniel Snyder's learned his lessons. I don't know that he's going to do that. Jason Campbell, pretty good quarterback first half of last year. Phillips missing. Paul has Butler cherry picking down the floor. And the Hornets retake the lead.
Well, it's been the transition of the New Orleans Hornets that have gotten back in this ball game. And why do you get in transition? Because you play better defense. They have gotten after it defensively. They've done a better job on the glass. And therefore, oh, Chris Paul just nailed Chris Anderson in the chest.
First on Paul. Is that little retaliatory strike after some physical play going the other way? I know the Hornets had a foul to give, but
it looked like he took a shot at Chris Anderson there. Anderson setting up for a pick.
Nuggets have been physical with Paul through the first
look
two
at
games.
This Paul coming off, and you know, that's playoff basketball. It's part of hockey.
Chris Paul could have been a pretty good running back, huh?
You think? Warwick Dunn type, maybe? Like
he's bigger than Warwick Dunn.
Is he?
Oh yeah. How many 6 foot tall, 6'1" running backs in the NFL? Anthony Noah with the size of Chris Paul. Denver's missed 7 straight shots.
Carmelo Anthony really struggling in this ball game. 4 of 12. Let's see if the Hornets can get some momentum going into the half.
Here's Paul. 5 seconds to go. Uses the screen, slips, somehow got it to Posey, who's fouled with 0.6 of a second left. By the way, John Barry, how did the Hornets have the lead in this game?
Well, first of all, how did he get this pass off to James Posey as he's almost on the ground? Finds Posey. You know what? They've gotten back into it defensively. They play better D, and I think Denver has let them back in. Their shot selection nowhere near as good as it was at the start of the ball game. They were moving the basketball, getting good looks. It's been more one-on-one ISO. Carmelo Anthony continuing to struggle, 4 of 12 in the game. They have not got the quality of looks they got in the first quarter. And credit New Orleans. They hung in. Like I said, you get it back on the defensive end. You don't win it offensively. You dig in, you get stops, and you get out on the break, and that's exactly what they've done.
James Posey and Sean Marks with great energy off the bench. They've combined for 18 first half points. Posey with 11, a chance for one more here. Marks with 7 and 4 rebounds in 14 solid minutes. Posey's played only 7 minutes, and he has 12 points. Denver led 22-6. Chris Paul certainly frustrated, and so is Chauncey Billups. Billups just 1 of 5 in that first half.
Like I said, all we've done the last 10 minutes or so, we got aggressive on the defensive end. It gets everything else going, baby. All right, so stay aggressive. Stay aggressive down there.
That's how you win in the NBA playoffs. You defend. You do not get it back on the offensive end. It's exactly what the Hornets have done. James Posey, one of the best in the business at taking charges. Sean Marks doing the job on Nene. They got out in transition. Chris Paul has put an imprint on this first half. He's got 16 points. And you look at these stats, the bench points. If the New Orleans bench can even up with the Denver Nugget bench, they're going to be in great shape to win this ball game. Fast break points, 14 for the New Orleans Hornets. You would think Denver would be that team that gets out and run, but the Hornets have done it. They played inspired basketball after about 5 or 6 minutes of where were you guys?
Yeah.
No show in the first 6 minutes of the game, but they're back in it now, and they got a great chance to win this game.
You talked about the Hornets defense. How much of that is Denver taking its foot off the pedal there?
Well, I thought they took poor shots in the second quarter. They got away from what they were doing. They were moving the ball well in the first half, the first quarter. A lot of jump shots. Chauncey Billups only 1 field goal. This is a guy averaging 33 in this series. And for the Hornets, it's been Chris Paul 7 and 9. I'd like to see him become even more aggressive, take some shots. Great bench production from Posey and Marks. Going to need the bench to play well in the second half if they want to get this thing done.
Rick Bucher had a chance to talk with George Karl.
That's right, Dave, and his big issue is that Chris Paul imprint. He feels that was a result of their transition D or lack thereof, that they let Paul get a little bit loose. But he feels that the problem starts with the offensive end and the shot selection. He thought it really deteriorated. As John mentioned, he believes it was part of the fact that they got a little too happy over that lead. Feels that if they clean that up, that should lock down the D and they should be okay.
Well, Chris Paul had 16 points, Rick, to go along with 7 assists. Meanwhile, Chauncey Billups was just 1 of 5 from the field, 8 points. Billups had scored 31 and 36 in games 1 and 2. Again, Dante Jones being physical with Chris Paul, who wanted a foul called there. Here's West, 3 to shoot. West just 3 of 9 in the first half. Missed once, not twice. Got the second one to go.
New Orleans going to have to get David West going. Struggling shooting the ball, as you just mentioned. But you got to credit this New Orleans defense in the second quarter. 32% shooting from Denver after a 59% first quarter.
Today missing. This is the largest deficit the Nuggets have faced yet in the series. The Hornets outscored them in the second quarter. That's the first quarter New Orleans has won this series, as Chris Paul makes it a 7-point Hornet lead.
8 of 10 now for Paul, and like I said, I'd love to see him become more aggressive. Go ahead and take 25 shots tonight if that's what it takes for you to get it done. He's the best offensive weapon they have out there on the floor today.
Stojakovic with the strip. Jones hops over Butler, who fell down, and David West cans the jumper. George Karl wants to talk it over.
Yeah, not acceptable defense there by the Denver Nuggets. First, it's Paul off the pick and roll, able to penetrate in the lane and hit a wide open 8-foot shot. And now no one accounting for David West. A wide open jump shot, and the New Orleans Hornets off to a great start here in the third.
Well, here, Mark, the Hornets have opened up a 9-point lead, the largest deficit the Nuggets have faced in the series yet. They lead this best-of-7 first-round playoff series 2-0. Well,
Chris Paul's been the difference maker here. How about the crossover on Nene into the lane, frees himself up for an easy jump shot. And here, nobody probes better than Chris Paul. Little Steve Nash type dribble around, finds his partner David West there for a wide open J. If West can start to knock down that jump shot, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Denver Nuggets.
Billups certainly outplayed Paul in games 1 and 2, but Paul winning the individual battle today. Chris Paul 2-8 record against Chauncey Billups. Although Paul's numbers are pretty good against Billups, his team has not played Billups and Denver and Detroit when Billups was there very well. Shot clock at 3. Billups lost it out of bounds.
Dave, how about the last 6 minutes of this ball game? The Denver Nuggets are 0 for 8 from the field, 4 turnovers, and have scored 1 point, and that was on a defensive 3-second call on the New Orleans Hornets. 1 point in almost 6 minutes of basketball for the Nuggets.
And a Denver foul. The Nuggets do not have a player in double figures yet. And there's what you're talking about, 0 for 8 from the field. The leading scorers for George Karl's team, Billups with 8. J.R. Smith with 8, Carmelo Anthony with 8, but Anthony is 4 of 12 from the field.
Well, this Nugget team has gotten away from absolutely everything they did to get a 22-6 lead. They have played one-on-one basketball. They have not moved it. Poor shot selection, and the Hornets are taking control of this ball game as West miss another one.
5th rebound for Melo. He's also got 4 assists. Anthony hanging, can't score. And finally tipped it in. That's the first field goal in over 6 minutes. Going back to the end of the second quarter for Denver. Stojakovic got free, but a foul called on Tyson Chandler. And that's 3 on him.
There's just no need for that. That's your 3rd foul. They need you on the floor. They need you to rebound and block shots and play with the energy that you play with, Tyson. You cannot afford to take a foul like that. He didn't even need to touch Carmelo Anthony as he knocks him down.
Chandler's barely played from the beginning of March to the end of the regular season as Anthony hits. Tyson Chandler played only 20 minutes out with a left toe injury or left ankle injury. He was bothered by a left toe injury in the playoffs last year. They need Chandler. West fouled by Jones. That's 2 on Jones. ABC is your destination for the NBA playoffs tomorrow. A doubleheader starting with the Bulls Celtics, followed by the Cavaliers and Pistons. Coverage starts at 12:30 GMC NBA Countdown. Derrick Rose got the better of Rajon Rondo in game 1, but Rondo bouncing back in games 2 and 3 as the Celtics now lead that series 2-1.
Well, how about the play of Rondo? He gets a triple-double in the second game and controls game 3. He was terrific in that ball game. Who would have thought that Rondo would lead the Boston Celtics in scoring, shooting 50%? He's almost averaging a triple-double.
Battling an injury, though, you wonder how that will impact him tomorrow in game 4.
Well, the Boston Celtics showed their championship medal in game 2. They completely took the Chicago Bulls out of everything they wanted to do and played the type of defense that they played last year during their championship run.
Billups from way out, about 5 feet behind the three-point line, and he has got 11 points now.
Wow.
And Paul bumped by Nene.
Now you can see how Dante Jones is playing Chris Paul. They do not want him to get to his right hand, forcing him down to the left side. The pick and rolls coming that way. They have got to keep Chris Paul out of the paint. That's where he wreaks havoc on defenses.
Shot clock inside of 10. Paul, the alley-oop to Chandler. Lil Wayne, New Orleans native, loving it. Big sports fan. You see him on ESPN's First Take every now and then.
Well, that's exactly what I was just talking about, Dave. He got to his right hand to the middle of the paint, and now Tyson Chandler gets an easy layup.
Anthony Chandler, I think, got a piece of that. Numbers for Paul and the Hornets here. And Paul gets the bounce. Back to a 7-point lead. Chris Paul with 20 points. This has been his best game in this series so far. Also 9 assists. And Tyson Chandler just picked up number 4.
Again, another foul outside the three-point line. Just can't make silly fouls in the playoffs. And Chris Paul, as you mentioned, the best game of the young series here, but he gets to that right hand into the paint as we see a nice lob from Kenya Martin. Cannot allow Chris Paul to get to the middle of your lane. It's a dunk for Chandler, or it's a nice runner for him, or it's a wide open three-point shot for Stojakovic or Butler. Too many options when you get to the middle of the floor.
Meanwhile, Anthony getting Denver back within 5. Carmelo's got 14 points. And Peja Stojakovic called for the offensive foul there. He's got 3.
That's just not Peja's game. He is not a one-on-one player. He's a spot-up jump shooter, maybe 1 or 2 dribble pull-up type guy. To ask him to make a move against Chauncey Billups, it's just not going to happen. Paul's got to set all these guys up with his penetration and his ability to make easy plays for others.
Denver with a 2-0 series lead in the playoffs for the first time in almost 25 years. They have not won in the postseason since 1994. They've lost 7 straight series, tied with Houston for the longest active streak. But as David West picks up his 3rd foul, this appears to be a different George Karl Nugget team. And Billups obviously has a lot to do with that, but it's not just him. Well, the guy's contributing.
It's been a different team in all 3 quarters thus far today, though.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what is discouraging, because they got off to such a great start, a 22-6 lead, and they've gone back to their old style of just taking poor shots, not moving the basketball, poor defensive transition. They've got to get back to the way they played in games 1 and 2, because it was flawless. It was perfect. It was 2 games that they could not play any better basketball.
1 out of 2 at the line for Dante Jones. And Denver back within 4. 7 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Hornets trying to get their first win in this series with Denver.
Very difficult to get good shots when you don't have that post-up player.
Coming up later today on TNT, a pair of games. Game 4, Dallas-San Antonio. Game 3, Atlanta at Miami. ABC doubleheader tomorrow, starting with the Bulls and Celtics. Boston up 2-1 in that series. Cleveland leads. Detroit looks to sweep them tomorrow. And then Game 4 of Denver and New Orleans here Monday night.
Aren't you surprised by the Dallas Mavericks holding San Antonio to 67 points the other night?
But not surprised they're leading the series because of the injury to Ginobili and Tim Duncan not healthy. And Chris Paul finally out of the game. And Posey fouled. No, offensive foul called on Posey. That's 4 on him.
You know, I'm not quite understanding a Posey post-up as your best offensive opportunity out here. I mean, let's go to David West, who just made his last shot. He's a proven guy. He's an all-star. I think he's got to be the guy getting the basketball right now.
J.R. Smith. Here's Klaiza 3 on the shot clock, and Klaiza buries it.
That's a great shot. That's good defense. Loose ball. Great play by Billups to save it to Klaiza. And he knocks it down, and he's got 10 off the bench.
That ends a drought of about 4 minutes without a field goal for the Nuggets. Here's Marks, played very well today off the bench. Butler, deep 3.
Sue Butler shooting the ball excellent actually in this series. Not a guy that's going to take a lot of shots. J.R. Smith continues to heave them up there.
He'll take a lot of shots.
You know, he's not afraid. That's not a bad look. It's, you know, unfortunate you can't make it. But, again, it's all jump shooting for the Denver Nuggets to try to get back in a ball game. You need to do it on the defensive end, number 1. And number 2, get the ball to the basket, create some contact.
Well, some feel Crabtree is the most talented player in the entire draft, but we'll see where he ends up. 83-76. New Orleans leading this game midway through the 4th. Chris Paul with 29 points, 11 assists. Maybe you said he'd have to score 30 or 35 to win, and Paul has done that. Meanwhile, Billups having an off game after scoring 31 or more in each of the first 2 playoff games. The bench led by Posey's 12 points and 8 rebounds, getting it done. And Sean Marks, a solid performance off the pine as well.
Denver off to a great start here to start the afternoon, up 14-2, up 22-6. They were moving the basketball. They were playing with great energy on the defensive end. In the second quarter, they got away from that. They started to play isolation basketball. Their shot selection was poor. They started to turn it over. They allowed the New Orleans Hornets to get out on the break. 1 field goal now in just the last 6 minutes and 45 seconds because of the shot selection. They are too good offensively to go in scoring droughts of 6:45 with 1 field goal. It just shouldn't happen. It's all about shot selection. They've got 5 minutes and 43 seconds to get back into it. It's got to start on the defensive end. And number 2, take good looks.
Chris Paul is now 15 of 15 in the series at the free throw line. He's got 30 points in this game after averaging under 18 in the first 2 games of the series. Make it 31 for Paul.
This is a guy that could average, I think, 30 points in the NBA. I really do, on a regular season basis. No one gets to their position on the floor better than Chris Paul. And he is an unselfish guy, but I believe he could be a guy that could score around 30 points a night if he really wanted to, with his ability to get into the lane.
Think about it. He's led the league in assists and steals each of the last 2 years and has averaged better than 20 points per game each season. Klaiza missing a 3.
Okay, I'm okay with that shot. It's a nice drive, penetration and kick to a wide open shooter. That's good offense.
Shot clock Nuggets 7. Paul against Billups. Down to 3. Paul over Kmart. Can't get the bounce. Kleza lost it. Saved by Billups. Here's Anthony. You wonder how that right arm that he banged up earlier in the quarter is impacting him. Kleza catching. And he's fouled. If that's Chandler, he's gone. Yep. Sixth foul on Tyson Chandler.
Well, that time a nice take by J.R. Smith to get into the paint, shovels it over to Kleza. And Chandler, not much of a factor here today. Didn't get 20 minutes on the floor. 2 quick ones in the first half. And Chandler will go rest up and get ready for game 4.
Well, again, he's banged up with that left ankle injury. Remember, the Hornets tried to trade him to Oklahoma City, Joe Smith and Chris Wilcox, but that trade was rescinded after Chandler failed a physical. Although it wasn't the ankle, it was a left toe that the Thunder say the reason he failed the physical. Meanwhile, Denver has missed 10, make that 11 foul shots in a 9-point game.
They're certainly not helping themselves at the line. They're normally a pretty good free throw shooting team.
One out of 2 for Kleza. 85-77 New Orleans.
The biggest difference in this game as opposed to games 1 and 2 are the easy baskets. The Nuggets had 6 fast break points in the first quarter, and they have 6 points now. They have not had a fast break point since that first quarter, and you don't get easy baskets. It starts to wear on you. You have to work so hard to score. I think that's where the Nuggets are right now.
Posey catching down low, and a foul. Wait, no travel is called. Byron Scott wired for sound today.
We rebound, wait a minute, we rebound the ball with 5 minutes left. Don't walk it up. We got to stay in aggressive mode. If you can attack just like you did, attack. If you can't bring it out, we run something. All right? Come on, let's go.
Byron Scott and company trying to cut into this 2-0 Denver lead in the series. J.R. Smith fouled by David West. That's 4 on West. Carmelo Anthony banged his left elbow last time down the floor. It was the right elbow earlier in the quarter.
Yeah. And they're going to go down to him in the post here on Stojakovic, so we're going to see how it does feel.
Finds Martin for an easy deuce. 5 assists for Carmelo Anthony. Here's Paul, picked up by Martin. West, good catch, but he blew the layup. Fouled on the second attempt.
It's been a real struggle for David West here today. CP3 finding him with a nice little lob pass here, and that's just a stone cold. I put Dave Pasch out there and guarantee that he makes 10 of 10 of those. DP?
Not with those guys around me.
No,
maybe if there's nobody
they
there.
weren't even there. They weren't even around. Nobody even jumped for it. David West seems a little bit off. And I understand the struggles when he plays against Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin, an excellent defender. He's very athletic. David West, primarily a step-back jump shooter. And Martin has given him problems. George Karl telling us before the game of how Kenyon Martin has been the policeman in the back of this defense for the Nuggets. Great communicator, switching out on pick and rolls, calling out all the calls that they want to make, and he's done a terrific job on David West in all 3 games now.
Although West has had a terrific career, 2 All-Star games in 6 seasons. Remember, as we have the NFL draft coming up, David West was the 18th pick in the 2003 draft, a terrific draft class. The Hornets got a good one at number 18. Carmelo Anthony inside, missed. Nene is there. He got stripped by Peja. And here's Paul, 3 on 2. Butler, hard foul. Yep, flagrant on Billups.
That's an easy one there, Dave.
Let's see if it's a flagrant 1 or a 2. I think it's a flagrant 1.
Oh. Reggie Bush would appreciate that.
Not a piece Rasul Butler.
Yeah, that was no play on the basketball there. A simple, easy call.
That is a flagrant one.
But more importantly, let's hope that Rasul Butler can get up and be okay. It looks like maybe a little nosebleed here.
And Billups, the class guy that he is, going over to Butler to make sure he's okay.
You know, I remember playing against a lot of class guys that used to punch you in the mouth and then pick you up and say, "Oh, yeah, my bad." It was like, oh, wait a second. Oh, my bad. I did it for the third time today. Oh, my bad. Here, let me help you out.
ABC is your destination for the NBA playoffs tomorrow. Action starts at 1 o'clock following GMC NBA Countdown. Can the Bulls even the series with the Celtics? Can the Cavs sweep the Pistons? Find out tomorrow on an ABC doubleheader. Boston hammering Chicago in Game 3 to go up 2-1. How about the Sixers?
Yeah, very surprising. Very surprised about the Sixers. The Magic defense just disappearing. An 18-point lead in Game 1. Then they give up 60 points last night in the first half. Very surprised that the Phillies got a 2-1 lead there.
Who do you like in that Atlanta-Miami series?
Man, that's a tough one. Dwayne Wade just sensational. What a second quarter he had the other night. If he can play the way he played all season long, I think he can single-handedly win a season. But to me, it comes down to Jermaine O'Neal. Jermaine O'Neal, a major factor in Game 2. If Jermaine O'Neal can play well, I like Miami to get through.
Because it's a flagrant one, Butler had to stay on the floor and shoot the free throws. Otherwise, if he was replaced, he could not come back in the game. And Butler will stay on the floor for game action as well, as New Orleans has opened up a 10-point lead.
A strange game. You really can't look at numbers. It's been a tale of 3 or 4 different games. I mean, Denver looked just like it was going to be a complete blowout again, like games 1 and 2 after they were up 22-6, playing great basketball, enthused. New Orleans, no passion, no life, and it's completely switched.
And they say Nene tripped Paul, and Nene is fouled out.
Well, we've got ourselves a series here, it looks like.
There's 3:13 left, though. Only down 10.
Looks like we have ourselves a series.
You're that confident in the Nuggets' ability to come back.
You know what? You start to see flagrant fouls and guys laughing and this and that. I mean, I think they're resigned to the fact that, okay, we're up 2-1. We're going to come out here and try to win Game 4 and take care of business when we get home if you're Denver.
But you got the sense, as you said, from the way the Nuggets started the game that they could do what they wanted when they wanted in this series. Yet, if they lose, they're going to be another loss away from having to go back to Denver, needing to win to maintain home court.
Well, you're right, Dave, but you can't do that in the playoffs. You can't turn it on and off. You have to play at an intensity level like these guys did in games 1 and 2. I've never seen a Denver Nugget team play as hard as they played and as focused on the defensive end. Today, it's been few and far between. Offensively, in particular, it's been a poor game for the Denver Nuggets.
Carmelo gets to the hoop and lays it in. He's got 20 points. And a timeout by the Nuggets. It's been a physical series and a physical Game 3. Hornets leading it by 9. We've had a couple of more technicals in this game, making it 9 for the series. A couple of flagrant fouls as well today. Hornets without a field goal in almost 5.5 minutes, yet lead by 9. Paul spinning, shooting, missing, and Smith flies in there for the rebound. Big possession here for Denver. Smith for 3. Got it. 6-point game.
Try and try again because he's had a tough fourth quarter, but he's a guy capable of making tough shots. And here we go. 6-point game with 2 to play.
Smith now 5 of 14 from the field. 14 points. Last 8 points for New Orleans have come at the line. Under 2 to go. Here's Paul. He's got 32 points in the game. West able to score.
No weak side help. Somebody's got to come over and stop this guy. We're inside 2 minutes of a playoff game, and a man lays the basketball in. Can't happen.
Anthony foul. That was the Hornets' first field goal in about 6 minutes.
Well, it's been physical pretty much throughout the afternoon. Flagrant foul there. Flagrant foul on James Posey. That Bennett Salvatore. Chris Paul getting grabbed by Chauncey Billups, and a flagrant there. Reggie Bush would love it here in New Orleans.
Although I doubt Stafford will be starting that game, but you never know. New Orleans leading Denver by 8. Chauncey Billups, a big football fan. We talked to him about who he thinks the Broncos should draft.
It's tough, man, because I know we need defense. But also I think if we have an opportunity to get Mark Sanchez, man, I think the city will be happy about that because I think he's going to be a star, man. So those are the 2 things I think we need to address from a fan's perspective.
Well, Billups, as we mentioned, a big football fan. He wears the number 7 in honor of John Elway because Billups is from Denver, big Elway fan. You see the Broncos with 2 picks in the first round. Josh McDaniels has kind of said, yeah, I don't see us moving up to get Sanchez, although.
So that's what's going to happen. Right? He said there's no way we're moving up. So what does that mean? We're moving up.
You're reading between the lines.
That's amazing.
The lies, I should say,
yeah,
not the lines.
You let Cutler just roll? I didn't quite understand that.
One more free throw. Anthony makes it a 6-point game again. Reggie Bush, member of the Saints, he's hoping New Orleans does not draft a running back, as he made pretty clear when he talked to Rick Bucher earlier.
Cushing, Brian Cushing.
Foul inside on Kenyon Martin. And then Martin on that shot attempt by Paul just punched the ball out of bounds after the whistle had blown by about 5 seconds. 5th foul on Martin.
Well, you see this a lot in the league, that after a whistle, a guy will take a shot, and Kevin Garnett's really the guy that started this. Never wanted that ball to go in his basket while you were down there, I guess. I don't know, like a goalie, you never want the puck to go into the net. And you see guys doing that now, but you know, to my understanding, it was anytime a ball goes into the stands, it's an automatic technical foul. We saw Chauncey Billups at halftime throw a ball into the stands. That time, Kenyon Martin throws in the stands, so I don't know.
Butler gets both free throws. 8-point New Orleans lead. 90 seconds remaining. And saved by Anthony. He'll launch and make a 3. 5-point game.
Plenty of time to play solid defense. 2-possession game. I'd get it out of this guy's hands. Don't let him get it back.
Billups trying not to. Paul. Oh, a little shove, Billups, but no foul called on Paul. Shot clock down to 5. Here's West. Paul with 1 on the timer. Shot clock violation. It did not hit the rim.
Well, why would David West throw a ball when he's 12 feet away from the hoop to Chris Paul, who's 30 feet away from the hoop? As Carmelo Anthony says, we're not done yet. Knocks down a 3 to cut this to 5 with just under a minute to play.
And if you're George Karl, what are you drawing up in the Denver huddle?
Well, I like to do something to the basket. You have a 2-possession game. You're going to need 2 scores. I would just get the ball in Chauncey Billups' hands, penetrate down the lane. If they step in and you can fire out to a 3-point shooter, great. If not, lay the basketball in. You got plenty of time to play solid defense. No need to foul on a New Orleans possession.
Carmelo Anthony quietly with 25 points now. Chauncey Billups with 14. J.R. Smith has 14. All will be on the floor for this possession. 1 timeout remaining for Denver. And both teams are in the penalty. New Orleans needs this win. No team has ever come back from being down 3-0 in the NBA playoffs. Game 4 on Monday here in New Orleans. Phillips guarded by Posey. Great pass to Martin, who's fouled.
Well, isolation there from Chauncey Billups. Just get to the basket. And he shovels it off over to Kenyon Martin with a nice play here. And Chauncey Billups still great ability to get to the basket. I know people say that he might have slowed down over the last couple of years, but still pretty effective to me when he wants to get into the paint.
5th foul on West, so he and Posey with 5. Chandler's fouled out. Martin playing with 5 for Denver. Nene is fouled out for the Nuggets. Anthony Carter back out there.
Big one here, Dave. Makes it a 1-possession game. Anthony Carter in for the offense, defense here. We'll probably see a New Orleans timeout, I would imagine, if this goes in.
Martin gets them both. A 12-4 Denver run to pull within 3. New Orleans has 3 timeouts remaining.
Well, now, if you're the Nuggets, you've got to take the ball out of Chris Paul's hands. Do not allow him, as they're doing right here, don't allow him to be the guy that makes the play, whether it be shooting the basketball or finding an open teammate.
Peja for 3, and Billups the rebound.
Wow. Awfully quick 3 there, Dave. No timeout for Denver.
Billups going for the 2. And he's fouled.
Well, that is an awfully quick 3-point shot on one end. Now, you're trying to milk a game here. You're up 3. Take your time. He shoots it with about 12 on the 24-second shot clock. Back come the Nuggets, and Billups takes it to the hole. They elect to go for the quick 2 as opposed to setting up for a 3. You know, Peja contested 3-point shot, 12 seconds on the clock. I don't know. I mean, he hasn't taken a shot in 7-8 minutes.
And he's 1 for 9 for the game and 0 for 4 from behind the arc. And David West has just fouled out. And Chauncey Billups, 91% free throw shooter on the season, but he's missed twice. Doesn't miss that time. 2-point game.
Well, George Karl he's got to elect a foul. With a 1.6 differential, you can't just let him run the clock down. So if you're the Hornets, you get the ball to Chris Paul or Peja Stojakovic on this possession without a question.
Billups got them both. 94-93 New Orleans. And timeout Hornets. 7-0 Nuggets run. And both Chandler and West have fouled out. We'll see if New Orleans can survive not only the game but the series. Denver trying to go up 3-0. Chris Paul with 32 points and 12 assists. Chauncey Billups 16 points, just 3 of 10 from the field. And finally 2 turnovers after not turning it over at all in the first 2 games.
Well, Chris Paul has made sure that his team is not going to go down without a fight. You knew he would just play well today. He was frustrated in the first 2 games by Dante Jones. He came out aggressive. 16 points in the first half. Now 16 here in the second, and you can bet that he's going to have the basketball here. Denver got a foul. You cannot let this clock run down with a 1.6 differential.
Hornets led by 11 with just over 3 minutes to go, and a 14-4 Denver run since. The Nuggets have a 20-second timeout remaining. Both teams are in the penalty. Chandler and West have fouled out for New Orleans. Kenyon Martin playing with 5. Carmelo Anthony has 25 points to lead Denver. He's banged up both elbows, though, in this game. See how quickly Denver fouls with only a 2.5 difference between the game and shot clocks.
So I like just one initial trap, and then
great defense. Anthony made the play, and Denver can win it. Nuggets use their final timeout.
Oh, what a careless pass. James Posey. Stojakovic trying to hold off Carmelo Anthony. He's able to slide around Peja and get a huge steal.
Well, it looked with 3 minutes to go and a 10-point game like this might be over, but again, the Nuggets, a much improved defensive team this year, and there's an example of it.
Well, good play there by Melo. Stojakovic seemed to be a little bit off balance. He wasn't coming toward the basketball. You've got to come towards the ball in that situation. You do not want to be moving away from the ball. Carmelo slides around and gets a huge steal. Denver with a chance to take the lead.
What's the play if you're Denver?
Well, again, I like just Billups up on top. Let him break down the defender. If he can get in the paint and finish, great. If someone comes over to help, kick it to an open shooter, maybe 2 extra passes, and you're going to have somebody wide open to win this game for the Denver Nuggets possibly.
The NFL draft at the top of the hour here on ESPN. Some work to do here in Game 3 in New Orleans. Hornets by 1, but the Nuggets with the ball. Here's Anthony. 10 seconds to go. Anthony on the drive. Anthony with the shot. Not there. Rebound by New Orleans. And a Denver foul with 2.9 on the clock. Even if Posey makes the free throws, the game not over yet, although no timeouts remaining for Denver.
Yeah, that's the problem, Dave. They're not going to be able to get a good look. But terrific rebound there by James Posey as Carmelo drives the lane, tries to make a pass to Kenyon Martin. It's deflected. He picks it back up. Here he's trying to make a pass to Kenyon Martin, gets his own deflection and unable to finish as Posey grabs the board. Huge rebound there, and Kenyon Martin throws him down. And very poor acting job there by James Posey. And 2 huge free throws here. 3.2. They actually put a little bit of time back on the clock, Dave. But as you mentioned, no timeouts. So going to be very difficult if they're down 3 to try to get a decent look here to tie this thing up.
Posey is 6 of 7 at the line. Martin is fouled out. Anthony had some time there too after the pass bounced back to him. Still about 6 seconds left when he took the shot and was off balance. 2-point lead. 1 more free throw coming. And again, no timeouts for George Karl.
Now he could elect to miss this shot, which doesn't allow Denver to take the ball out of bounds, obviously. But it does only leave you up 2 points. A 3-pointer beats you. So you just got to go ahead and knock it down. If Denver can make some kind of a heroic shot, we go to OT.
He missed it. Here's Anthony from half court for the win.
Oh.
Off the rim. And New Orleans survives. And we've got a series.
Carmelo Anthony, 3.2 seconds. He had plenty of time to get it to the half-court line. And this thing had eyes. Just drifts a little left. And New Orleans escapes and gets back in the series, like you said, Dave.
Chauncey Billups, just 3 of 10 from the field. Chris Paul got the better of him. 32 points, 12 assists. And New Orleans gets its first win in the series.